What's going on YouTube? Brand new Modern Warfare 2 beta video. Let's jump right into it. So the beta ended last week. I really wanted to take some time, gather my thoughts, gather my notes here in terms of the beta, what I thought, what I didn't like, and what I hope for coming up in the actual launch here in just over a month. So with that being said, guys, you guys are looking at some gameplay. We had some MP5 gameplay on Farm 18, my favorite map of the beta. And that should be running in the background here, but we do want to address 3 different areas of focus, and that's going to be the gameplay itself, the UI, as in the user interface, menus, etc., and then my wishes for launch. So with that being said, guys, let's jump into it. All right, jumping into the actual gameplay itself, right? The first thing everyone knows is a slower TTK and a slower movement. Personally, I felt the TTK was actually a little faster than what I'm used to. Again, I'm used to playing Warzone, where you have plates, you have, I think, 250 default health plus an extra plate, 300, I believe. So for me, I actually thought that the TTK was a lot faster than what I'm used to. But overall, the movement is what really bogged me down in that beta, right? Usually I'm used to slide canceling. Yes, I'm one of those people with the paddles on the back of the controller and slide canceling everywhere and whatnot. I understand that people don't like the slide canceling factor, but it's a huge skill gap factor. I really think that if people want to get good at the game, they can go ahead and get used to slide canceling. Now we have dolphin diving, which is a lot slower, so I don't really know how dolphin diving is really going to be used. I like how you can dolphin dive through windows, through doors, through whatever it may be, off buildings. But overall, it was a really cool mechanic back in Black Ops 1 and 2 and whatnot. I think it's just an outdated mechanic to bring back to Modern Warfare 2 here in the next month and a half. So we'll see how that plays in. We'll see what happens with that specifically. But moving on, I mentioned the slower movement, right? And so obviously just a slower tempo, slower gameplay. I like to think that Vanguard, for example, obviously just our last multiplayer gameplay experience. That's why I use that just for reference. A little bit faster. Again, I play Shoot House, Shipment, whatever it may be to level up weapons, camo grind, you name it. So for me, having that slower movement is just, it's just killer, man. It's just killer. I'm not a huge fan of it. We'll see how long it takes me to get used to it. I'm also curious as to how that will translate over to Warzone 2. So we'll see how that movement kind of plays out there. One thing right off the bat, which I do talk about here later in the video, is the dead silence. So it's an equipment in the Modern Warfare 2 beta. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. We all know how overpowered dead silence is in Warzone, and I know we're not talking about Warzone right now, or Warzone 2, or Warzone 1, the one that we're currently playing, but dead silence should not be an equipment. Dead silence might be, kill streak or something like that, but it should not be an equipment that you just wait around, wait for it to unlock, and then just run around silent. I just don't. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that at all. Anyway, the kill streaks. Jumping into the kill streaks of the gameplay, for example. So this one was a little bit more interesting for me. Again, I didn't really go in with huge, with high hopes. We've seen them all, especially in Modern Warfare games. We've seen the AC-130s, the chopper gunners, the Pavlo, which I loved in Modern Warfare 2. But we've seen the helicopters, you name it, the helicopters, the dogs, the UAVs, counter UAVs, etc. That's pretty much what we got in this beta. I just hope it fixed the chopper gunner movement thing. So I don't know if you guys saw, we actually uploaded a TikTok of this a couple weeks ago. But the chopper gunner does not work in the beta. So the chopper gunner, you were not able to move, and you were not able to move around, which I was not a huge fan of. I'm not sure if that's like an intended mechanic or not. I definitely wanted that to be, obviously part of the kill streak. You unlock the chopper gunner, you should be able to move it around and actually use it as intended, like Modern Warfare 2. So with that being said, I do want to move into the looting system. So we saw the looting system at that COD Next event, right, in Warzone 2. We also looked at some of the gameplay in Ground War. To be honest, I did not get a ton of time in Ground War in the beta. But the looting system, I was just not a huge fan of in Warzone 2. Like I said, we'll make a separate video on Warzone 2, kind of hopes and dreams and whatnot. But I really hope the looting system overall kind of just gets overhauled. I'm not a huge fan of the whole backpack system like Tarkov or like Blackout and whatnot. I kind of like how everything's just on the ground in Warzone 1, and you can just kind of choose what you want. Apex has a very similar kind of backpack looting system, which again, Apex does it right, but regardless, that's something that I hope that they look into. So let's talk about some positives, obviously, the gameplay. So the gameplay itself, right? I love how each weapon had its own character to it, right? It had its own feel. It had its own pros and cons. I felt like certain weapons, we're good at this distance versus other guns were good at better distances, etc. So it really had its own characteristic. So many times through Cold War, Vanguard, Modern Warfare 2019, there were a lot of guns that kind of blended together, man. I mean, you know, if you look at like Modern Warfare, right? You have the M4 and the Grau, and they basically do the same thing, in my opinion, right? Like, you guys could really choose 2 weapons and say, are they really that different? Especially in Vanguard, if you look at like the SMGs, for example. You know, it's just, they all kind of like blend together. I really felt like Modern Warfare 2, at least the beta, did a really good job making sure that each weapon class, because you have those different trees and whatnot that you can build out each weapon for, but they each had their own characteristics, their own pros, their own cons, you know, obviously their own attachments, which I really, really love. Vanguard. Let's look at Vanguard again. Last multiplayer experience. We the amount of attachments stay the same basically for every class of weapon, right? So the assault rifles all had the same attachments. Submachine gun had all the same attachments. Snipers, etc. Right? Modern Warfare 2 Beta, it seemed like each weapon had its own attachments for each configuration, right? So the M4 had its own attachments for either the burst fire, the the M16 version of it, right? The actual M4. You know, you can go into the snipers, you can look at the marksman rifles, you know, you name it, right? And so for me, it was really cool to see all the different attachments that you can really customize these weapons, right? When we saw the trailer and they're like, oh, you can customize the weapons how you guys would like to play, that's the same old jargon they've been giving us for years. I am so excited that this beta actually kind of showcased that a little bit more than just like, oh, 10 customization slots, right? For me, I think that they did a really good job of customizing the weapons this year. I'm really excited to see how DLC weapons work out too. Are these DLC weapons that we're going to get later on down the line, different battle passes, are those going to be different weapons altogether with different, you know, variations and whatnot? I'm really curious to see how that looks. I mentioned this here in just a second with the UI, but I really do like how they added the camos for attachments. So again, we jump into that here in just a second. But I think it's really cool because now if you buy a bundle, you know, you don't change one attachment and then the aesthetic goes away. That's our current complaint right now with Warzone 1. I also agree it's not the best look for Call of Duty, but overall, that's just the gameplay overall. So, you know, let me know what you guys think so far. With that being said, guys, let's jump into the actual user interface part of the video. All right, jumping over to the UI part, right? We're talking about the main menu, we're talking about the loadout sections, we're talking about all the various different you know, parts of the menu when you load in. So there's a lot to think about, right? They completely overhauled the UI, the main menu, the quick plays, the different game modes and whatnot, weapons operators and store. You know, obviously we couldn't view the challenge tab. But right off the bat, man, was this confusing, right? We'll start off with our friends list over here, right? This was so incredibly just not optimized, right? And it reminded me of the old, like the Warzone that we are currently playing, Warzone 1, their store, where you can only see like basically 1 or 2 lines of content, or in this case, friends. And you go over to friends. I learned through a friend of mine, you had to press left trigger, then you're able to see the entire friends list. And even from there, I get that's a beta. Not all the friends data is going to actually show up and be accurate and whatnot. That's fine. I'm not complaining about that. But you just see your friends list of sorts here, and it's just so convoluted and strange and just, it's just weird. It's just weird and it's not optimized. And you go recent, it's like, what? Like, again, 1 row. I just backed out of a lobby with my buddies. Shout out Time Excalibur. Shout out 21 Average. And I could not figure out for the life of me how to back out of a party. Right? So I would, you know, press B, and then I could quit to desktop. Not looking to do that. So we had to press right stick in. I had to go, actually, it's not even that, I don't think, right? On mouse and keyboard here, I had to go over to the friends list here. I'm sorry. The settings? Yeah, settings, and then from, I see, even now, I forget how to do it. Even now, I forget how to do it. Right. Okay, so we had to do this. Okay, so we had to press the friends tab. And then this right here says your party, but that blends in so well with who's online and your other friends that's like impossible to differentiate right there. And once you click that, you're able to, you know, to leave your party right there. So again, I do believe that they can clean up the friends list. It won't be that hard either in terms of just the UI. This part was kind of confusing, right? There's no quick play. There's no quick play here. You'd go into one and then you'd press B, press filter. And then you can, you know, select Team Deathmatch and Domination, and then press Quick Play from there for some reason. And then also those Ground War, Invasion, Third Person Moshpit, Hardpoint. All these game modes can be a lot more efficient and, you know, organized in terms of a menu and whatnot. So that's something that I highly expect them to fix before the actual game is released, but just want to put that out there too. Operators, very straightforward. Kill streaks, very straightforward. Vehicle customization, obviously, I didn't dive too much into this, but, you know, we'll see what that's like, you know, in terms of customizing. I do want to talk about the builded class and loaded class. So, a lot to unpack here, right? For the first time, we're seeing this crazy new way of building out weapons, and this, you know, just like these, like, you know, you get the primary, I believe they call it the main parts, and then you build it out as you guys would like, depending on the weapon class and whatnot. So, for me, it was a little bit tough. The beta did not have all these weapons that you were able to actually grind out, right? So this one you're able to get, you know, the 1x13 auto in this case that comes with the side impact, and that has the loadout attachments, versus like the Hurricane, which once you equip it, you know, you can edit it with whatever attachments you want, right? And you can see that level 14 out of 15, right? And then with the M16 and, you know, whatever it may be. For example, you unlock the Scar once you hit level 30 in the game. The Scar is an absolutely fries. We uploaded a video actually with this gameplay earlier this week, but you will see there, level 1 out of 1. We are not able to rank this gun up. We are not able to add attachments or adjust them in any way. The build weapon thing on the top is blanked out. And actually, we're not even able to add a charm or a decal, actually. I mean, I guess you can, but on controller, it wasn't letting us. So, very interesting there. There's a couple of other weapons that are just like that. So, for example, like the right here, the AK-74U, same deal. 1 out of 1. Can't level it up, can't customize it. Fennec, same thing. Shotgun's the same thing. This Seiken MG38. And then the Lockwood. I was having so much fun with this Lockwood. I really wish we could have had the ability to customize it and play with it and actually see how, you know, how great the marksman rifle is. Same with the sniper too. Same with the sniper. But overall, let's go into a gun that, you know, actually has attachments. So very straightforward. The receiver, I kind of like how you're able to customize this straight from here. You know, if you want to turn into the 3-burst M16, you could. If you want to turn into the single shot, the SMGs, you know, versions, I don't know. I think that's really cool. You can kind of customize it from there. I really do like also how you can equip. Let me go back to my M4 real quick. I do like how if you have a cosmetic, right, for this weapon, no matter what you change, you could change the skin of the attachment. So what I'm talking about is this, right? So I can attach, give me a good example here. So with a barrel, I can put on the, you know, the Trench Pro. If I press X, I actually have the ability to adjust the coloring and the cosmetic on that actual attachment. So I think that's really, really cool, and that's going to lead to some really cool looking weapons in the future. And then this progression menu too. Again, all this took a long time for me to kind of get used to, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple and straightforward. So I actually really enjoyed this. This, you know, very straightforward. And same with the weapon attachments too. I think that the customizability this year is going to be nuts. Really looking forward to that. One last thing I want to talk about was the perk change. And this one, not a huge fan of how they're doing the perks this year. It kind of makes sense, but you're able to edit them, and, you know, I understand you level up basically in the game and, you know, earn the perks as you go through. But there's some here that I'm not a huge fan of, being, you know, the bonus perk or the ultimate perk. But again, that's personal preference. In terms of field upgrades, right? Let's talk about this real quick. So Dead Silence. Why is Dead Silence a field upgrade? Dead Silence should be something you loot on the ground, maybe a piece of equipment, right? Like it is in this game as a field upgrade. But again, I just don't like that being a perk. I'm sorry, a piece of equipment, a field upgrade. Actually, going back to perks real quick, right? So there is a Survivor, which is basically Last Stand. Man, oh man, I couldn't get over that. I couldn't get over that. In terms of that being a perk in this game, that's gonna bother me quite a bit. I did actually like all the lethals. I think that, like, the drill charge is really creative. Right, other than that, it's pretty straightforward. And same with some of the tactical grenades too. So the heartbeat sensor has a battery on it, really cool. And overall, just, you know, really cool overall. Really looking forward to this customization for the next year or two. But hopefully they fix some of these things in the game moving forward in terms of the UI. With that being said, let's jump over to the gameplay. Awesome. So jumping back over to the last part of the video, I just want to kind of go over my wishes for launch, basically. So definitely want more weapons. I know the beta is a beta. It's not supposed to have all the weapons, but you know, even the weapons they showed in the menus that may have been locked, not enough, not even close to enough. I have full faith and confidence they will actually release with more weapons, but I want to see more snipers. I want to see more shotguns, more SMGs, more LMGs. I'm a big LMG guy. and obviously more assault rifles too. So I'm sure that they will, but I'm really curious to see what other weapons they add. On top of that, more customization. So again, with the beta, it was a little bit tough. Obviously, they didn't like allow for 100% customization of the weapons, like I mentioned. But I'm really curious to see more how they allow for customization in terms of aesthetics and also calling cards, emblems, you name it, right? And also operators too. The operators we got a good glance at, but it wasn't enough to really be like, wow, this is amazing. I want a clearer understanding of the camo grind. I want to know what camos are available for these weapons. I want to know if we have a traditional camo system where you have, 10 sets of weapons or 10 sets of camos with 10 camos in each set, whatever it looks like. I want to see the mastery camo too. Obviously, we grinded Dark Matter, Atomic, and Damascus in the last 3 Call of Duties, and we've unlocked all of them. But I want to see the mastery camo for Modern Warfare 2. So obviously that will come once the game launches. I want to see a better looting system, like I mentioned. Very simple. I mentioned this in the UI part of the video, but I want to see cleaner menus, a little bit easier to navigate. And specifically, I want to see a better friends list menu as well, and a party up system as well. I understand it's a beta, but those are my clear wishes for Modern Warfare 2 release. Now, obviously, when the game launches, there'll be bugs, there'll be glitches, there'll be a lot of stuff to fix, but that's what updates are for. I want to see all of that come when it actually launches here at the end of October. With that being said, guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of the beta, what my thoughts are, what you guys think of that and whatnot. With that being said, guys, drop a like, leave a comment. Top box is that previous video like always, and that bottom box is a mystery video just like always. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Have a great day.